Good evening, everyone. I'm glad you're on this call tonight. I have a very, very special guest for you. He's going to show you basically how to transform your life instantly. You're going to love this. This is TC Bradley. TC, you there?
I am here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right.
Well, I'm very excited to have you on here tonight, and let's explain how we can help these people.
All right. Well, everybody, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be on this master class. It's important that you realize a couple of things up front that I don't take that lightly. I don't take it for granted at all. I'm not somebody that's very long-winded on a master class. I have made my reputation as being somebody that's cut to the chase and very direct in my being and my speaking. And I plan to do that tonight and respect your time as well. Say what needs to be said and leave the rest of it alone and trust your intelligence to understand what's being offered here to you tonight. But this slide, it's kind of a powerful slide, how to transform your life instantly by becoming a best-selling author within 45 days. I am a living witness to this happening in my life. I'm somebody that there's nothing that I will share with you this evening that I have not personally done myself. So there's not a strategy, there's not a something that I would recommend here tonight that I haven't personally done myself. I just have a belief that leaders lead, especially in today's marketplace. And you have to be the expert in today's marketplace or you're going to be underpaid your entire life. So like I told a gentleman today, I had an appointment with a prospective client who's one of the top chiropractic doctors in the Tampa area. And we were talking, and I said, you can toll away in obscurity for the rest of your life, or you can do something by connecting with me and dramatically change the direction of your business and your finances and your life. And it doesn't take me that long to do it. So having said that, let's go ahead and get into the presentation. In this master class, I'm going to share with you how you can become a best-selling author within 45 days. And here's the best part, without writing your own book. A lot of you are busy, incredibly busy, and you just don't have the time. And then there are some of you on this call that you're incredibly gifted and you can write. And if that's your gifting, then that's all well and good. And there'll be an opportunity for you to work with me as well with a solo book. But primarily, this call is for the busy folks on this call that you just don't have the time to write your own book, but you'd love to have the benefits of being a best-selling author, because there is quite a bit of benefits in becoming a best-selling author. I'm also going to share with you examples of how leaders are using publishing and media to have buyers contacting them pre-sold on their products and services. It's very rare that somebody contacts me today and they haven't vetted me. They have not researched me and seen some of the books that I've published, seen some of my TV appearances, and it just builds such tremendous trust and gives you really an unfair advantage. Now, who's this for? This class is for entrepreneurs, CEOs, and business owners, consultants, coaches, and speakers, and those rare individuals I love to call alpha dog leaders. Now, my promise to you is that I operate with complete integrity and authenticity. Well, we are going to make you an offering at the end of this class, so that slide is not correct. So excuse that. I will make you an offering for tonight. But this content is going to be pure uncensored content, and if I do my job correctly, your eyes are going to be open to why a publishing and TV strategy is non-negotiable in today's economy. Now, here's why I'm qualified and I've earned the right to speak to you about this topic this evening. A lot of you may be aware of the fact that I had a major TV show this year air on 3 TV networks when I released my solo book, Supernatural Success, Spiritual Laws I Used to Generate over $1 million in sales and beat Oprah in website traffic. Now, the truth of that is that I almost didn't publish that book. I wrote it. What I had done is, I live vicariously through my clients, my publishing and my media clients today. And, when we have a success with them, it's like my own success. And I've been threatening to write a business book for some time. My wife came into my office and she said, out of the blue, we hadn't been talking about it. She said, you need to write that business book. And it just connected with my spirit. I just knew I was to do it. And that night I went upstairs and I came up with the title and the subtitle to that book. And then I went and had my graphic design department put together a nice cover. And I put it out on social media. And I said, this book is my business book, long awaited. It's going to come out next month. Well, immediately people got really excited about the book. They were like, we can't wait for this to come out. When can we buy the book? And I'm like, well, I better write the book at this point because people are so excited about it. And so I immediately started writing the book. And it came time to publish the book. And I had doubt. And I had a whole lot of self-doubt on my shoulders because I was like, do I really want to do this? Do I really want to open myself up to criticism of publishing this book? Because there's a lot of goofy people out there, especially on social media nowadays. And do I really need it? And I got to be honest, the reason that I published that book, I remember sitting there on my computer with my finger on the mouse of the computer pad and the submit button for Amazon. I'm like, it was the last day that I had to honor my word that I said I was releasing it that month. And I pressed the publish button, and I published the book. And I was like, well, it's out there. Because, see, here's the thing. What if I publish this thing and people don't like it? What if you're writing a book on supernatural success? In my mind, you ought to have some supernatural success to it if you're going to write about it. What if people don't like the book? So I had all these doubts and everything else, but the reason I published that book primarily is because I had to honor my word and my agreement. I put that out there, and by God, if I say I'm going to do it, I do it. That's my track record. That's my way of being in business and in my life. And so I hit the publish button, and wouldn't you know, within 45 days, I signed a major TV deal with Legacy Productions and went into their studios, treated like a king with red carpet, and we shot the TV show, and it's aired on 3 different networks so far, and we're in negotiations to air it on additional networks. I'd like to see it go on the Fox Business Network, and we're in negotiations on that to bring it to there. So it was on the other side of my fear, is my point. The other side of my doubt was incredible opportunity I never saw coming, and I'm in the business. I never saw this coming, right? But it just shows you what can happen. My background, a lot of you are on this webinar, you're in the real estate field. Well, so was I. Back in 2003, I built my first website called Buy With No Credit, How to Make Money This Month in Real Estate. That website, I actually hired the web designer for Dr. Joe Vitale to build it for me. This is years before he was in a movie you may remember seeing called The Secret. Well, his web designer is a kid out of Chicago. Well, he's not a kid anymore, but he was back then, Charles Lewis. And I hired him to build the website, and the thing was an immediate success. Right out of the gate, within the first 30 days, we were the #1 real estate program on ClickBank. We actually ended up selling well over $1 million in sales worldwide. Within 2 years' time, I had more website traffic going to my website than Oprah had going to her website. That's a matter of fact. My life changed on March 20th of 2012. I went into a sudden cardiac arrest in front of my home. In that ambulance you see on the left-hand side, I died in that ambulance without a heartbeat or a pulse for a minute and a half, 2 minutes. They call that sudden cardiac death. Within 10 seconds, ladies and gentlemen, after being placed in that very ambulance, I died. My heart stopped immediately. It's an electronical issue with your heart. It just stops. And the survival rate is less than 1%. You just don't make it. And if you do make it, you usually have some sort of deficits because of the lack of oxygen and blood flow to your brain and your vital organs. And yet, I survived that without deficit. And laying in that cardiac intensive care unit, I knew my life had been spared for a reason. And it wasn't just for business. I knew I was to write a book about the miracle that had happened in my life that morning. And that's exactly what I did. Within 90 days of being released from the hospital, that center picture is the paramedic who saved my life on the right-hand side wearing the blue shirt. That's my wife and I presenting him the Phoenix Award, which they award to paramedics and EMS personnel that actually have a verified saving of a life in the field, heroic saving of a life. And so I was very honored. That was about 90 days after I got out of the hospital. It was an outdoor picnic area that they had this award ceremony at. It was like 93 degrees, John. I know you're on the master class listening. It was like humid, like you would not believe. I told Vicki, I'm like, oh yeah, take the cardiac kit out to the humidity and present this award. I was like, well, if something's gonna happen, I'm in the right place because I'm surrounded by all these heroes, so I'll be okay. The picture on the right is a picture of me and my cardiologist mean mugging after my first checkup after that event had occurred. But within 90 days, I wrote the book called God Says When. I used my internet marketing skill set to drive the thing to bestseller status on Amazon. And at one point during the campaign, I was above Joel Osteen and T.D. Jakes on the bestseller list, as you can see here. And that meant more to me than number one, I can tell you, because I don't have their media budgets. I'm just a kid from the south side of Chicago. I didn't have their media budgets. And yet, here I am. I'd be grateful just to be on the bestseller list with them, let alone above them on the bestseller list. And it's just amazing to me what had happened. And this is an environment that the only reason I even published this book is because I knew that I had to, right? I was being called to do it. And it wound up opening up a whole new world for me. I actually went on Joel Osteen's radio show and shared my testimony, my God Says When testimony, with Joel and his brother Paul, who's an MD. And actually, you can see that on my website. You cannot see it, but you can listen to it. Joel was a very classy act during the show. Because I told him, I said, Joe, I beat you. I shared my story, and then also shared the fact I took him out for a day or two on the Amazon bestseller list. And his reaction was priceless. Now, after I published my book, God Says When, understand, please, that this God Says When is a faith-based book. It has nothing to do with business. It's just strictly about that experience that night of my life being spared. But after I published that book, there was a shift that occurred in my life. I felt that I was the same person as an individual, but people viewed me much differently. Clients and prospective clients viewed me in a much different light. They wanted autographed copies of my book. They wanted pictures of me of them with the book. They're posting this stuff on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. It literally created an instant celebrity status in my life. And that's where Instant Celebrity Status was born. It's a publishing media firm for the exceptional entrepreneur. Our trademark proprietary publishing and media strategies, they're all high level, and I operate and execute these with surgical precision. There's absolutely no guesswork in what I do. None. Absolutely no guesswork. I've got over 123 written recommendations on LinkedIn. It's part of my philosophy to leave no doubt of who the leader is in your space. And I say that because most people on LinkedIn have less than 3 written recommendations. Now, I'm not talking about those little goofy endorsements that everybody can get. I'm talking about real written recommendations that cannot be manipulated from my clients, okay, that are on there. I invite you, if you're not connected with me on LinkedIn, go ahead and connect with me. I'm easy to find on LinkedIn. I have a very powerful presence there. I'd love to connect with you. And I have a network of over 12,000 high-end entrepreneurs within my network. I'd love to have you a part of it. So reach out to me, and then you can look over some of those written recommendations as well. Here's something I'm very proud of, our federal trademark for instant celebrity status. Now, here's a question I have for everybody online tonight is, when was the last time somebody asked you for your autograph? I want you to think about this. It's a shift in posture for a prospective client, but do you know that one of the number one requests I get is for an autographed copy of my book? Do you know that? That happens? It's like a natural reaction to people when they find out you're a published author. They want an autographed copy of the book. Here's 2 of our clients that they had at a book signing doing autographed copies for people. But just think about that shift on how that would position you in the marketplace when you have a potential client of yours that actually requests an autographed copy of your book. It's a game changer. Make no mistake about it. Best-selling authors enjoy benefits and opportunities that others do not. I'm talking about increased income opportunities, speaking engagements, the ability to command higher prices than your competitors, increased media opportunities, and again, more people choosing you over your competition. These are just some of the super cool benefits that you get as being a best-selling author. Now, I have a picture of P.F. Chang's up there, and you may wonder why that's up there. Well, I had a client of mine that participated in a book of ours, a multi-author book, and literally took his copy into P.F. Chang, says he goes there once a week. He's a realtor, and he met 2 potential clients for lunch at this P.F. Chang's. Now, he's got a custom cover on his multi-author book, and he went in and said hi to the manager, who he knew, and he autographed a copy of his book for the manager. Said, listen, he said, my book just came out. It debuted on the bestseller list. I want to give you an autographed copy of the book. And the manager received the book, seated him and his 2 potential clients for lunch, and they ate their lunch, and it's about $80, $85, $90 a bill, because it's a high-end Chinese luxury restaurant. And it came time to pay that bill, and the manager approached my client, Steve, and said, it's on us. He's like, what do you mean it's on us? He said, it's an $85 bill. He said, sir, we've never had a best-selling author in our restaurant dine with us, and it'd be our honor to comp the bill for you today. And he was just blown away. What do you think the reaction to the clients were, the potential clients? Do you think it changed how they viewed him in their eyes? Now, listen, I'm not promising you that's going to happen for you, right? Now, I kid around with Steve, who's this happened to, so you don't care about any of these other benefits. All you care about is going to your favorite restaurants with your book and trying to get comped a meal from the manager by giving out your book. But when I tell you it changes how people view you, I'm not kidding. It really, really does. And it's a humorous example, but it's a real authentic example. The bottom line is people want to do business with the leader or the expert, and in this economy and marketplace we live in, they can find you. It used to be back in the day that if you had page 1 of Google for your search term, let's say that you're a business attorney in Fort Myers, and you could get on page 1 for business attorney Fort Myers with your website, and your website was halfway decent, you would convert the lion's share of that business. Well, nowadays, your competitors are there as well. And people are looking to do business with the leader, and they can research you, and they can find that leader. And that's exactly what they're going to do. That's why, ladies and gentlemen, nothing is as powerful or as profitable than a properly executed media and publishing strategy. Nothing. And by the way, if you're a speaker, coach, or consultant, or you consider yourself a thought leader or an expert, and you don't have a book yet, you are seriously behind today's choice-based economy, and you're sort of like a toothless dentist. I just wouldn't do it. I mean, if you're a speaker, for example, and you're out here speaking, any place that's worth speaking at, they're going to ask you if you have a book. And if you don't have a book, it's not congruent with what they are looking for. So, again, if you're a consultant, the same thing holds sway with a consultant or a thought leader. A thought leader doesn't have his thoughts on paper or their thoughts on paper. You're not a thought leader. Seth Godin said, in a crowded marketplace, fitting in is failure. In a busy marketplace, not standing out is the same as being invisible. And let's face it, ladies and gentlemen, we have a very noisy marketplace. It's very noisy, very competitive marketplace. So fitting in ain't going to cut it in today's marketplace. If you try to fit in, you're going to lose market share until one day you're going to be out of business working for another man's dream. Dan Kennedy, the godfather of marketing, said this: the simple truth is, if you aren't deliberately, systematically, methodically, or rapidly and dramatically establishing yourself as a celebrity, at least to your clientele and target market, you're asleep at the wheel, ignoring what is fueling the entire economy around you, neglecting development of a measurably valuable asset. And I agree with Dan on this. You've got to develop your celebrity and your brand. Number one excuse for playing small that I get from potential clients is, I'm not ready to step up as an expert right now. I'm going to prove this is 100% false with the next slide. Why do millions, and I mean millions, buy fitness advice from this guy, Richard Simmons? Is he the most fit person, physically fit expert in our country? I don't think so. But have you ever thought about that? Why do people buy fitness and trust him for fitness advice? How did these people become known as experts in their field? Richard Simmons, Susie Orman, Dave Ramsey. Are they the smartest in their fields? Do they call themselves the expert? Are they constantly pitching products and services? The answer is no. When you think about it, what they've done is they've positioned themselves as an educator and an advocate for the success of their customers and their clients. It's really $1 million distinction. They're not pitching stuff. They're advocating and educating people for the success of their customers and their clients. That's a great place to be in the market when you can position yourself in that position. So step one is don't reinvent the wheel. Being a published author establishes authority and expert status that will crush your competitors. It really gives you an unfair legal advantage. As an entrepreneur or business owner, you create expert status and credibility and authority because you wrote the book. And in today's market, it's not as important that somebody actually reads your book as it is that they know you have a book. And to illustrate this point, I have a Kindle, and it's loaded up with some powerful books that I haven't even read yet. How many books do you have on your Kindle or in your library that you've been meaning to get to that you haven't even read yet? So don't get caught up in this thing about it's got to be absolutely spot on perfect, because most of the times people are not going to read the book. It's more important they know that you have the book. And by the way, it's the best business card ever. Business cards get thrown away all the time, but best-selling books do not. And a book makes a huge impression, huge, indelible impression. Now, why is being a best-selling author so valuable? Well, media pays attention and respects those that are best-selling authors. It creates building blocks of trust for potential clients. It opens up additional opportunities of radio, TV, speaking engagements. It forever changes how you're introduced. Please welcome best-selling author. If you're on a podcast, please welcome best-selling author. And it allows you to become a premium service provider and charge premium pricing, never to compete on price again or what the market is charging. Why is that? You bring different value to the market as a best-selling author than somebody that doesn't. Now here's something that may be a little controversial for some on this class, but the money's not in the book sales. I make, I believe, a little over $5 royalty for every book that I sell. A little over $5. Do you know how many books I've got to sell to pay a light bill? Do you know how many books I've got to sell to make a mortgage payment or a car payment? Yet there are publishers that are in the industry, and that's what they sell, the dream of you're going to be a millionaire by selling all of these books, right? I come at it from a different perspective because for my clients, the money is in the positioning and the leverage that the book will provide to get them more clients. If you're a personal injury attorney, what's more realistic? You selling 50,000 of your books at a $5 net profit on personal injury? You know, what's the market for that? Do you think there's going to be 50,000 people that's going to have an interest in that book? Or leveraging that book to get one person to choose you that results in a $250,000 retainer fee or case? How about if you're a luxury real estate agent? One luxury listing that generates a $50,000 commission check, or 10,000 book sales at a $5 profit per book. What are you going to run Facebook ads to sell 10,000 books? Or how about you just use that book for that potential homeowner, seller, or client of yours that positions you as the go-to expert, and you sign them up and you generate a $50,000 check because of that. If you're a dentist, for instance, you got a client that over the lifetime value of that client is $30,000 to you, especially if you're a cosmetic or you're a specialty dentist. What's more realistic? Do you really think you're going to write a book about cosmetic dentistry that's going to sell 6,000 books? Or is it more realistic to use your book to leverage to get 5 of those clients this month to choose you over your competitors? If you're a coach or a consultant, let's say that you have a $5,000 coaching program. What do you think? You're going to get 1,000 book sales? How many Facebook ads are you going to run to get 1,000 book sales versus leveraging that book to get one client that takes your coaching program and pays you $5,000? You should have a back-end program to work with us, as I'm not a book promoter. This is not about us selling a ton of books and you making a lot of money. This is you becoming a best-selling author in spite of the fact you don't have a tribe, you don't have a following, you're not a quote-unquote celebrity. This is being able to do that in spite of that with Amazon. All right, so let's look at some actual client results. Here's John Terhune. John Terhune has spoke to over 1 million people worldwide, and he shared the stage with U.S. presidents. And when he contacted me, he had an existing book, and it had never reached bestseller status. In spite of all of that success that John had, he couldn't hit that list. Within 2 weeks, we took that existing book, and we changed that for John forever. And he's forever in my debt for that. So if you're listening to this class and you already have published a book and it is deader than 4 o'clock, we can revive that book for you. As long as you published it and you didn't go through one of these dinky-donkey publishers, as long as you published it under your Amazon account, we can help with that campaign. Cody Butler is a multi-million-dollar marketer. We've done 2 books for him, the God Attitude book and the Definitive Guide to Generating Digital Consulting Clients. And again, Cody is known worldwide. He actually runs a multiple 7-figure digital agency in Australia. Here's Paul Forsberg, who's a business broker. And what's interesting about Paul is within 3 months of his bestseller campaign for his solo author book debuting, he actually secured a $75,000 a year consulting contract within 3 months. Now the thing is that he's not really a consultant. He's a business broker, and he wasn't looking for this contract, but this opportunity came his way as a result of this book. It's been a life changer for Paul. Here's Tom Dutta, signed a major TV show deal with William Shatner's folks within 7 days of his campaign for his book, The Quiet Warrior. Here's Rick Morris, who got featured in Forbes after his book debuted. Kind of cool. Here's Jeff Burke, trained like a rock star, speaking tips from a stand-up comedian. Jeff has shared the stage with Jay Leno, Martin Short, some of the major players on the comedy scene. And within a week of his campaign, he was featured on his local news channel. Kind of cool. Rich Phillips got invited to be a major keynote speaker within 30 days of his book debuting on the Amazon bestseller list. That's Rich on the left-hand side. He's one of the last human beings to ride a killer whale, an orca killer whale. He was a orca trainer at SeaWorld before they closed that program down and shut it down. And he wrote an incredible leadership book, and he got invited to a major leadership conference after that result happened for him. Why is that? He brought different value than anybody else brought to that conference. That's why he got invited to do the keynote address at that conference. Here's Lee Shelby. Lee Shelby had a workplace accident. He lost both hands. He's an electrical lineman. Had an accident that literally burned off both of his hands. He now does speaking engagements all across the country on workplace safety in the workplace. He's one of the top speakers to do this. When Lee contacted me, he had no interest in doing a book. He had every interest in being on TV. And I said, Lee, you need a book. You need a book. It's going to help you get more speaking engagements. It's going to open you up to so much more. He didn't have a book. But what he had was he had a PowerPoint presentation of his presentation. And we took that, and I had my editors actually transform that into a book for him. And then we did our bestseller campaign. Immediately, he raised his speaking fee. When he went to speak, Comcast ordered 1,000 of his books. Pico ordered 1,200 of his books before he spoke there. Cummings Supply ordered 500 books. 2,700 books times a $5 net, that's $13,500 that went into his bank that wouldn't have gone there if he didn't listen to my counsel and my advice. Now, like I said, the money's not in book sales, but if you're a speaker, right, then this is a revenue stream that you're bypassing because it's a natural byproduct. But normally it is not. But if you are a speaker getting these engagements, then obviously this opens up a revenue stream for you. Now, here's how to become a best-selling author without writing a book. The fastest and easiest way to do this is to record yourself and then have it transcribed and edited. Time required to do that is 1 to 3 hours max. Now, I'm talking about a solo book. The hardest thing with a solo book is the chapters of the book. If you can get your chapters down, that's 99% of writing the book. And what I had one of the top Facebook marketers come on as a client of mine, had no time to write a book. I said, write out your chapters. You know, the chapter headings, the titles to the chapters. That's what I'm talking about. Write out the chapter titles. If you can get that done, you're 99% done. Because then all you do is you go online, and you get a recorder, like at freeconferencecalling.com. You can record yourself in a conference for free, and then you can have it transcribed and edited. Now, he did that, my client did that on a Saturday afternoon and busted it out within 1 to 3 hours maximum. The other way is to do an interview-style book. It is the fastest way to market. The time required to do this is 30 to 45 minutes max. And what an interview-style book is you're not going to write the entire book. You're going to contribute a chapter in a book. And those questions are going to be supplied to you. And all you've got to do is answer the questions. Type out the answers to the questions. It's going to take you a maximum of 30 to 45 minutes to do. You'll have those questions and answers. You have a bio in the chapter with your contact information, with your website at the conclusion of your chapter. And this interview-style book is designed to position you as a leader, as an expert in your industry. The bottom line, there's no excuses for not publishing your book, as we offer these solutions in-house with our publishing firm. Now, I'm looking at our time. I'm right on time. We have a unique opportunity for you during this masterclass to become a best-selling author in the next 45 days. We are publishing elite real estate professionals, top leaders in the industry. This is going to be released November the 18th, right around that period. Well, it's going to be sometime before November 18th, I believe. But I see what I did wrong. It's not November 18th. It's November of 2018 is what I meant to say there. But it's going to be released in the month of November because we have a red carpet awards ceremony for the people that participate in this book. It's guaranteed bestseller status. I have a 100% success rate on every campaign that I've ever done. 100%, ladies and gentlemen. It's an interview-style book. It's the easiest and fastest pathway to bestseller status that you're going to ever have. You have a unique opportunity to participate in this book and really close out the year very, very strong. The chapter is going to be due October the 25th. No exceptions. Your chapter will be due October 25th. Now, bear in mind that I have a lot of experience with these multi-author books and this style of a book. And when I tell you that your chapter will take you 30 to 45 minutes max, I'm not kidding you. So no one on this call should freak out about the October 25th date. The advantage you're going to have is you're going to be able to participate in this book and actually become a best-selling author within 45 days, by November. So you're going to end this year strong, and you're going to start the year incredibly strong. You're going to have the ability to have a custom cover and Chapter 1 placement. So here you see our last project, Real Estate Rock Stars, that we did. This is a custom cover of that book that we had for Daryl. Now, Daryl will be able to order this book, and his chapter in that book is chapter number 1. His information, as you can see, is on the back side of the book. So he's on the cover, and he's on the back of the book. It's a custom cover and chapter 1 placement. That's a $1,000 value right there that we're actually including in on this offer. You're going to be invited to come to Florida for the Red Carpets Award ceremony in November. I do believe it's November the 13th is the day that the red carpet is. We actually literally have a red carpet. You come down the red carpet. We have a professional photographer there for you, and you are able to have these pictures taken, and it's powerful media collateral. You see the award on the left there that I present to you. Very beautiful award. And you see Jackie Simon, she was one of our authors for the last book. She posted this on Facebook. Can you look at the social interaction that this got? 568 responses, 231 comments, and 2 shares. This is, when I tell you that it changes how people view you and the perception, I'm not kidding. It literally does. But you'll be able to come and actually get professional pictures, walk the red carpet. And this is very important for your media, for your marketing materials. This is one of the reasons that we do this, is that it just gives you incredible marketing material. So you can put, these pictures on your website, on all your social media. It's just very powerful, very powerful. We take the time to do it. Everyone that participates in this book, you're going to have an opportunity to come down and walk the red carpet, and it'd be something that you deserve because you got out of your way. You took a decision, you made a decision, and you made it happen, and now you have made history here. The investment. I want to go over this before I share with you the investment for the chapter in this book. In my solo author books, my primary program, it's a $15,000 to $25,000 program. It's a $15,000 to $25,000 program. And you can see, one of the things that I despise on webinars and master classes is when things get manipulated and pricing gets manipulated and values get manipulated. I want you to see that when I tell you that that's what I charge, you can see wire transfers for various amounts, down payments. A lot of people put a down payment down and then pay the balance when the book is due. So you can see that I legitimately charge that fee for a solo book program. So, but that is a VIP type program. That is for a solo author book. That's with me putting you on TV here on Fox 4. It's a very robust program. So keep that in mind when I share with you the investment for the chapter. You're not going to have to pay this amount of money or invest this amount of money to become a best-selling author. The investment for the chapter, ladies and gentlemen, is $29.97, $2,997. It is a guaranteed bestseller. It includes the custom cover. It includes the custom Chapter 1 placement with your chapter being placed on chapter number 1. It includes the red carpet awards. You can come down and get your award. You have to come get the award. You have to come and get the award to make that happen. And also, what I'm including in tonight is a custom news release. If you secure your chapter tonight only, so at midnight this goes away, this bonus. If you will do this, you will actually get as a bonus a custom news release that I will do that gets syndicated out to ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox. I'll show you a sample of this in a slide or two. But this is the syndication network that I use for my VIP premium clients that pay me $15,000 to $25,000 for a solo author book. You're getting $1,000 value with a custom news release, because there's going to be other authors in the book, but a custom news release only talks about you and your chapter and your background. And then we syndicate that out on a Tier 1 network, which is the very best network you can have. I sell it all day long at $1,000 a piece for a custom news release for my clientele. And you're going to get that included, but only if you take the action on your chapter tonight. Tomorrow, it does not matter, and there are no exceptions. So if you pass on it, or you get started after tonight, then you're not going to get the custom news release. You'll have to pay for that after the fact if you want that. And most people do, because it's just a smart move. It's additional marketing collateral for you to have. And also, I do something very unique in the industry that I'm not aware of anyone else doing, is that the entire $2,997, when you decide, and I do know that there are some alpha dog leaders on this masterclass, when you decide to do a solo book with me, I credit 100% of the $2,997 off of your solo book. So if it's $15,000 for the solo book, the VIP program at that time, then you can deduct that entire $2,997 off of that pricing. So you get 100% credit. And believe me on this, I have plenty of people that start out with a chapter in the book and then they upgrade to a solo book later on. So they do this first, and then, because why wouldn't you? You're going to get credit for it. So that is your price point. Here's an example of a custom news release that I spoke about. Talking specifically, this is an attorney that participated in one of our books, called Author Books. And you can see there's no mention of any of the other authors in this custom news release. It's all about you and your success. So then you can do a screen capture of these, and you can have a media page on your website of this huge accomplishment. Here's where you go to order, instantcelebritystatus.com/real-estate-book, instantcelebritystatus.com/real-estate-book. Now, if you want to do a payment plan, you can put half down, and you can put the other half when your chapter is due. So you can split that up into two payments, but you will not get the $1,000 custom news release. All right? If you do the payment plan, you will not get that. You'll have to call me. That is my personal mobile number, 239-443-9851. You'll have to call me to get that processed. But if you're a full pay, you go to the instantcelebritystatus.com/real-estate-book, and you do that by midnight tonight, then you'll lock in your chapter, and you'll have a $1,000 bonus on that for that custom news release. If you need to do a payment plan, not a big deal. Not a big deal. It just needs, you need to put the down payment down and then pay me the balance when you submit the manuscript next month. Now, let me say this as well in closing, that it's important that you realize that there is limited space in the book. There is limited space in this book. And if you raise your hand and you take a position in this book, you need to understand I'm going to hold you accountable 100% for that. There are no refunds, in this. If you make a commitment to be in the book, you are causing somebody else not to be in the book that would want to be in the book. That's not fair to me. It's not fair to my business model. So we're all grown-ups here. If you make a commitment to be in the book, then, you have to understand it is non-refundable. Absolutely. Because you're taking a spot in that production schedule. If you make a payment plan, I don't have a problem with that. But you're not going to come to me 30 days from now and say, I decided not to do this and I want my money back. Because you will have injured me by taking a spot from somebody else. So as long as you know that. Now, if you are not somebody that can make that commitment, I'm going to tell you up front, do not proceed with this program. I'm not your Huckleberry. Do not proceed. I'm on record as telling you that. So, but if you are all chips in, then go there tonight and do it tonight. And if anybody has any questions, I'm not going to keep you, but that is my mobile number. Shoot me a text. Shoot me, a call, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have. Elsie, I don't know if this is set up to take questions right now.
We can.
All right. Well, we can open the floor for questions if somebody has questions. If you have questions, please identify yourself by name and the state or city that you're calling from, so I know who you are.
And it looks like there's people muted. You would just hit *7 to unmute yourself. Well,
Identify your.
I have no questions.
Okay. Well, invariably after we. Did somebody have a question? Okay. Listen, let's go ahead and do this. I'm going to go ahead and wrap the masterclass. I want to respect people's time. We're coming up on the top of the hour. I promise to do that. You have my direct mobile number. If anyone has a question whatsoever, I'd love to talk to you. Not a problem. Give me a ring. I just don't think you're here by accident. I'll end by telling you this. I don't think you're here by accident. I think there's a multitude of places you could have been tonight, but for whatever reason you were here tonight, and if you made it this far, there's a very strong, compelling reason why you're here. And I can tell you that it's very easy to talk yourself out of doing something that you know you've been called to do. And I just want to remind you of what happened with me personally, of everything that was on the other side of that. You know, success. Don't hesitate. This is your moment in time. It's not about me at this moment. This is about you. This is about your legacy. This is about your future. And I'll say this because I didn't really touch on this, Elsie. You know, monetizing the book is very critical. Anyone thinking about doing business with you is going to get an autographed copy of your book. Anybody thinking about doing that is going to get an autographed copy. And yes, you will be listed on Amazon as an author on the book listing. Oh, the other thing I didn't cover is the wholesale copies of the book are going to be right around $3 a book, just under $3 a book. So very affordably, you can order as many of those as you'd like because it's going to have your custom cover on it as well, with your chapter being chapter number 1, because that's the most important real estate in there. I will say this, I think John is on. We are going to have another book in January. John, what's the do you have the title of that book?
We've not come up with that title yet.
Okay. Well, this is the task at hand for this book, and I would invite you to raise your hand up. John, do you have? I want to pull you out. Do you have any thoughts you'd like to share before we wrap our call?
Well, the only thing I can add, TC, is that to back up what you said about, everything you do and have done is true, because, we've done 2 books now with TC, and they've both been #1 bestsellers, and it's unbelievable the doors it opens up for you. And I know it has opened a lot of doors for us, and I've probably just scratched the surface with it. So TC's probably going to have to, kick my behind and get me to open more doors. But it is definitely, in today's society and today's marketing, if you do not position yourself as the go-to person, and with the book, #1 best-selling book, with the marketing that TC does as far as the TV, getting you on TV and all that. I mean, it's just so much easier to open the doors up and make you even more successful.
John, you've been in this industry for a long time, an incredible long time. I'm not going to say how long because I don't want to date you. But, the real estate industry is so stinking competitive. You talk about a noisy marketplace. How is it that how is it that a person today is to rise above the noise. How can they do that? I mean, this is a way, we're talking a fast track way, to do it. We're talking about something right now, and right now. I'm not talking about typical publishing companies. They operate on 12 to 18-month production schedules. Well, in today's economy, speed to market is everything. The faster we bring this book to market, the more money you're going to make. Think about that homeowner that you're sitting down at the kitchen table with or thinking about doing business, and you can give them an autographed copy of your book. Don't tell me that doesn't separate you from the competitors. And don't say you don't have them, because in this industry, you have them, for sure.
Oh, yeah. It definitely puts you head and shoulders above everybody else. It's just opened up so many possibilities for us. I know Stephanie and I, we've had, since we started doing the books, we've had 8 offers to do reality shows, and that's, I just wish I had the time to do them. We don't have the time to do them. We're so busy, and that's just one aspect of what the book has done for us.
Well, I'm going to add that into my presentation because I didn't know that.
Yeah. We just it's probably been a couple months now that we turned on the last one, but it's just those shows take up so much time, and we've got other things going on in the business that it just doesn't make sense for us to go do those at this time. Now, hey, who knows? Maybe the 9th or 10th offer we may do it, but right now that's just a lot of doors can be opened. And if you're just starting out and you get 1 or 2 of those offers, that's huge. We're like TC said, we've been at this a while, so we've got a lot of irons in the fire, and we're just a little busy at the moment. But in the future, who knows? You may see me on TV doing one of those shows. I don't know. We'll see.
John, you bring up a good point. There could be some people online that go, you know what? I'm just getting started in real estate.
Yep.
What would you say to that person?
Oh, I'd say you're totally missing the boat if you don't get your book, because, like I said, even if it just opens up one offer to do a TV show or one offer to be a keynote speaker, a specialist, whatever, it is well worth the small investment that you're going to make into the book.
Part of that is, in our other books, we've had people that have had very little experience just getting started in the real estate industry. And what they've done is they've just talked about a leadership topic and why they're entering the business. It's exactly what they want their prospective client to know about them. They put it in that book, and it can be crafted in such a way that it edifies you as a leader. So even if you have never done a deal, if you are brand new in the real estate space, I would recommend you still consider doing the chapter, and we'll just craft it towards a leadership style. You won't be the first that have participated in that, even though you're just getting started. So don't let that be a disqualifier, because it doesn't disqualify you, because people want to do business with the leader and the expert. So,
right.
All right, John, thanks for hopping out here. Any last questions before we wrap our call? All right, everybody.
I appreciate you doing this tonight, TC.
Well, you're quite welcome. You're quite welcome, and I appreciate you having me on, and everybody have a great night.
You have an awesome night, too, TC. Thanks, everyone.
All right, good night, everyone.
Night, everybody.